Forward to this computer.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. Today we have an epic guest on today. Her name is Bex. She is from New Zealand. She is an epic, epic, epic woman. We have connected on social media over the last few years. And this woman is someone, I mean, me and Bex pretty much chat every single day. So this right? Every single freaking day. So I feel like this podcast, guys, it's not really like an interview style. It's more two coaches in the industry, two plus size coaches in the industry. We want to bring to you our experience and we want to give you a bit of an insight as to how it has been as plus size women in the industry, which has ridiculous body expectations, but also our journey with self-growth, resilience, our own weight loss journeys, social media, and all that good shit. So, welcome, Bex.
Thanks. I'm so excited. We've been trying to organize this for 6 months, but we've made it
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Seriously, I feel like podcast is just one of those things where you do it when you can
Yeah.
because we are so busy in our businesses, right? Like, what does a week in your life look like running your business from home in NZ?
It really depends on the week. And it honestly depends on the day. There's chicken days twice a week. They take up half, if not three-quarters of the day. And I feel like by the end of it, I have no voice left, no mental capacity for anything.
None.
Then there's programming and you try and keep it different and you're like, okay, this client's injuries are over here, I'm programming here, this is what they like, this is what they don't like. And
Mhm.
then there's content creation and marketing lumped on top of that, which is actually 80% of our job is content creation and marketing, except it's 80% of the 3000% that we have to give
Yeah.
as a business owner.
That that is such a good way to put it. Like, I feel like, we get into the coaching space because we want to coach people. We want to help people. Like we feel a massive gap in this industry with the clients that we want to help. But when you get into it, especially when you start working from home from your laptop, you're like, oh, I'm actually a full-time content creator now. Like that has been my journey since September when I went online, realizing, and I knew I'd have to be online, but there is so much to marketing and posting content and strategy and self-growth and self-limiting shit that you have to push through. Like, how have you found your experience as an online PT plus size? Give the girls the breakdown.
Oh, it is a wild, it is the Wild West out there. It actually is freaking crazy. Um, yeah, I mean, obviously being online, as we had conversations just before you moved online, I'm like, girl, this is the lowdown. This is what you're in for. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you, baby girl, but you can do it. Um,
Strap
it's
in, bitch.
literally, it's I think being seen online is literally the biggest mirror to all of your shit, all of it.
Mhm.
Like, we are putting ourselves in a position online to be seen, to be judged, to be heard, to be also equally learnt from and to inspire others and motivate others and whatever else comes with social media content creation. But if we have an insecurity, someone's going to pick up on it probably. And they're, and they're going to be like, hey, your nose? Yeah, that's a big nose. And you're like, oh my God, please don't look at, stop looking at my nose, please.
I've
Um,
literally never had a problem with my nose before,
I
but thank you so
exactly,
much for pointing that out.
exactly, exactly. And also it's so hard to keep up with as well. We know, as like you said before, we didn't get into coaching to be a marketer.
Yeah.
We didn't open a business, we didn't become self-employed, we didn't, start wanting to coach and support women because we wanted to be an accountant or we wanted to be a marketer or we wanted to be a fucking admin specialist. We got into coaching because of the relationships that we can create and the change that we want and can see needs to be made in the world. And you open a business, you're like, hey, here, you need to get yourself clients. You need to come up with a brand strategy. You need to put yourself out there online. You need to sell all the time. You need to have conversations with 500 people a week. And it's like, it can be a lot. It can be a lot. And especially
Mm.
putting yourself out there on social media to literally be ridiculed and judged. Again, there's always a positive to equally inspire. But for every like 10 or 15 lovely comments, there's always a shit one. And it seems to always be the shit one that you're like, that you get hung up on. And it's hard. It's hard.
Oh yeah. 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 And it's learning something that I've learned is the comments are 10 times worse if there's a part of me that believe them, right?
100%.
So like if I'm online and I'm posting a video of me where you can see a tummy roll, I'm like, okay, I know my tummy roll's there, but you know what? I'm going to post that because women need to see that real women are in the
Yeah.
gym and that they don't have to look like a fucking bodybuilder because we're not trying to be bodybuilders here. And that's somehow become the picture standard of the fucking fitness industry. So it's like, I'm going to post this. I'm a little bit nervous about it, but I know a woman is going to see this and be inspired, right? And then you get a comment that's like, you have such fat stomach rolls on your body. What do you do? How are you a health and fitness coach? And you're like, I knew, I knew this was going to happen.
The amount of times, like when I'm posting content, I have the exact same thought process as you. I'm looking
Mm,
at it being like, oh, well, when I squat, like, yes, it's a lot of weight or my form's really good, but it makes my belly stick out more. Or like, I'm filming an RDL and my glutes look amazing, but you can see that my belly squishes together on the other side. And you're like, no, actually, this is what the majority of people look like when they train, just from the angles that aren't
mhm.
usually filmed. And actually, I want to
Yeah,
be someone for another woman to look at and be like, oh, actually, my belly folds every time I sit down to do shoulder press as well. Hers does, so it's totally
yeah.
normal. And you're like, oh, yep, okay, I'll post it because for the better good, for the greater good, I'm going to post it. And then you get comments that I think the biggest one that I've had more like the biggest comment, not the biggest comment, the most frequent comment is I would never hire you because your body is your CV as a health and fitness coach.
Mm,
And I'm
mm,
like, there's two sides to that. There's one where I'm like, true, so true, 100%. Like I'm a health and fitness coach and I'm not a size 8. But also, I don't want size 8 clients, you know?
mm.
Well, I mean, not that I don't want size 8 clients, but like
That's not your target
that's not
market.
my target market. There are so many bodybuilding coaches, there are wellness coaches, there are IFBB athletes out there who, if someone who is in a smaller body and struggling to gain muscle, there are plenty of coaches out there for that purpose. And I'm not
Mm.
saying I can't do it. I could absolutely help someone do it, but that's not who I started a business for.
So talk to the girls and me about what did you actually start your business for? And also you have to tell them about your experience with floor PT stuff
Oh
before
yeah,
you went
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah.
huge.
Great question. Um, so if you had have asked anyone in my family, anyone who knew me, even me in high school, if I would work in the fitness industry as an adult, fucking joke.
Yeah.
Absolute. I was the chick who had her period on cross
I
country.
was just about to say that. I have my
I
period
was
every
never
week.
well enough to do swimming sports. Athletics were an absolute no. Um, and so to be in the position that I'm in now, it's actually quite funny. So I hired a PT first year in uni,
Mhm.
which is I have no idea how I afforded that looking back now, but I did.
Yeah.
And she helped me lose probably like 10, maybe 10, 15 kilos. I felt great. And I was like, wow, she's introduced me to weightlifting. Like she's shown me that my body can be really strong. And just because I can't run 10Ks doesn't mean that I can't be into health and fitness. And I
Mm.
was like, you know what? Actually, I want to do this for other other girls, other women. So I did a year and a half at uni, started 2 different degrees, dropped out of both to go be a
What
PT.
did you study? What did you study?
So I did 1 year of human services, And to be honest, I couldn't even tell you what it was. Like, I don't, I don't really even remember. Like, I know I did a psychology paper, which I really liked. I did a sociology paper. Can't really tell you what that was about. Um, don't really remember much of that experience. And then I did 6 months, funnily enough, of a Bachelor of Business. Um,
Oh.
and then, yeah, about halfway through the first semester, I was like, this ain't for me. This is not what I want to do. I want to be a PT. Um,
Mm,
and so the last half of that year, I went and did my qualification. I was still working with that personal trainer at the time. She actually supported me through the course, if I had questions or, we kind of chatted in our sessions, which was great. And then at the time, the like head of PTs at that particular gym that I was training at in Christchurch, we were having chats and I was like, I'm going to be qualified soon. This is so exciting. And he's like, cool. Yeah. Like I've watched your journey over the last kind of year. Like, let's have a chat.
mhm.
And unfortunately, just as I got qualified, he moved to another gym in another position. Um,
Okay.
I still applied for a job there
Mhm.
and got through a couple of interviews. And then I remember sitting down with the club manager for my like final interview, and he was like, I would never forget the look on his face. He was sitting there, he's like an old, kind of chubby white man, like just like
We
sat
hate
there.
those.
He's just sitting there and he's like, so what makes you think that you would fit in here? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, you just don't have the right look. And I remember leaving that interview and I bawled my eyes out in the car. And like he didn't have to say you're too fat or you're overweight or I'm not going to hire you. Like I knew
Like, what else could you be getting at? Like,
exactly. Like you don't fit
what's
in
the
here.
problem?
I'm just a girl. I'm just a girl.
Just a girl. I'm just
Girl.
a girl trying to be a PT. Let me train people, you bitch.
Exactly. Um, And then I interviewed at a couple of other gyms and they said the same thing. One told me that I wouldn't pass their fitness test um, without even letting me try. Would I have passed the fitness test? Probably not, but that's
But
the
would you have passed the strength test? Like, you
yeah,
were
100%.
strong, strong, strong. Yeah, you'd be, yeah,
100%. I'm
so
lifting more than
strong.
some of their guys, because I trained at that gym a few times to get a feel for it. Um, and then I left. I never worked as an on-floor PT ever. I went away, did some other things, got some other little part-time jobs, trained my friends for fun because I really enjoyed it. I
Hmm.
had I was posting about my journey online and that was cool. That's kind of how I got my kicks. And then in COVID, I was like, yeah, I kind of want to do a little bit of online stuff. So I did. And then I was like, maybe I want to do some in-person stuff. So when lockdown lifted, I did. And then I was like, shit, actually, I could do this as a job.
Mm,
So, end of 2020, my PT income, which was predominantly face to face at that time in my garage, because I had like a setup in my garage, face to face PT was replacing the income from my other job. So, I said to my other job, which was it's a large global branded gym. Um,
name drop. No, I'm
yeah,
kidding.
yeah. It was Les Mills. I was working at Les Mills.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, working at Les Mills on reception. On
Hmm.
reception, I was not a fitness professional. And they kind of said like, you can't do both. And I made it very clear when they hired me. I'm a qualified fitness professional. I do some stuff on the side, but like I'm not interested in your taking your members.
Mm.
And they were like, look, you can either close your business and keep working for us, or if you want to work in your little business, you'll have to resign. And I was like, cool.
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh,
And that
God.
was the last time I was employed by somebody that was not myself.
Yeah.
And that was 4 years ago.
Man, and ever since then, you've been online coaching, running a
Yep.
successful AF online business,
My
which is
little
really
business is
incredible.
pretty successful.
How good is that?
Oh God.
It's not even the fact that they thought it was a little business. They were just viewing you as competition, right? Like
100%.
I've worked,
I don't want your
I've,
members.
no, no, no. But I've worked in places before where like I was a floor PT and then I started online coaching. Like it was like another offer that I had in my business, and they like had a meeting with me where they were basically getting at like, you can't do that. Like if you want to work here, you can't do online coaching. And so I was like, I'm out of here because I'm growing and this is where I'm heading. You're a small studio. Like I can't stay here. But it was just, it's all about that competition, all about losing their members. And it's a threat when you are someone like you and me who takes a genuine interest in these plus size, bigger women, women who have no idea what they're doing and they lack confidence. And we are genuinely caring for them. They do come to us because we're not a gym who's just taking membership money. Like we actually seriously care about their well-being. And so they follow that energy. So you were just a big threat to them.
100%. And that's fine. Look, if I'm a threat
Mm.
to mills, I'm happy about it.
Yeah. Put it in your bio, baby.
100%. But yeah, I know that you've had a pretty similar experience with like showing up online. Like I know our conversations that we've had offline, um,
Mm,
it's been pretty challenging for you stepping into the space. Like obviously we had a conversation about kind of what to expect and different
mm.
moving into the online space. But what does that felt like for you?
Yeah, great question. Well, when I was starting as a personal trainer, I was working in a big fitness first gym. And I really loved my PT manager and I loved my client base there. But the other coaches and me, not all of them, but it turned into a bit of a shark fest when COVID happened. Everyone went crazy about like keeping their clients and blah, blah, blah. It just turned into a shit show. Coming back from COVID, it was such a bad vibe in the gym. Like it was just awful. But I was actually in my weight gaining process when I started in the PT space. So after COVID, I think I came back about 10, 15 kilos heavier. And that actually pulled me in so many clients. Like that's where I started realizing, oh, I need to niche into plus size women because I'm into both of them and I can actually help them and I can actually fully relate to them because I'm going through that exact same process myself. But it was really hard having like other PTs just look down on me for my size. And it's very fucking clear that that's what it was. It wasn't in my head. It was obvious. It was well known. There was comments getting spread around. Like I was even coaching with one of them and he told one of the reception girls who fucking yapped to everyone and came back to me like, Mel will never lose weight. And I look at how he was coaching me
Yeah.
and he would weigh me at the start of every PT session, even if it was like 11 a.m. He'd put me on the scales after breakfast, after liquids, fully clothed. And if I had gone up in weight, which like if my last PT was early and this PT was late, I probably have gone up in weight because I've
And
eaten.
maybe you haven't taken a poo that day. Like there are
Maybe
so
I hadn't shit.
many things.
You didn't talk about my menstrual cycle. I had undiagnosed endometriosis back then as well, which is a big part of my journey. And he was like he was really anti-tracking food on my fitness pal. So he just gave me a meal plan. He wasn't qualified in nutrition. And it was like eat fish, eat vegetables, eat black rice, not brown, not white, because it's not good for you. And I remember saying, look, I will not stick to this unless I have some chocolate in this. And he goes, you can have one square of 90% dark chocolate, and that's it. And so, no fucking wonder, like with the knowledge we have now, no wonder I struggle to lose weight with him because what kind of bullshit setup is that? You're literally setting me up for failure with the approach that you have for me. So, when he told everyone, Mel will never lose weight, I quit, obviously, and then he never spoke to me again.
Perfect.
Um, so going like moving forward from there, I was in a female only gym where I had lost a lot of weight. So I became very big inspo for the client base in there. That's probably like the second most successful my business has ever been, other than now in that space, because I was fucking relatable. Um, then the last gym I went at was amazing. It was really good, but my heart was in online coaching by then. So I didn't give my last gym 100% of my time just because I was over the floor space, PT floor space. And I wanted to get online. Half of my sessions were me talking to the girls anyway, just like I do with you guys on WhatsApp now. But going into the online space was so scary because I had worked in spaces with people who knew my journey and who had seen me lose weight and who saw me train and knew I was strong and a boss bitch and encouraging and happy and lovely. Just like get all the tickets I have on myself. I'm a nice girl. And then I go online and it was just like, it was like going back to square one in terms of confidence. I found it really, really, really fucking hard, to be honest. And I have realized the more I am consistent, compliant, hitting my targets, and moving forward in my coaching and in my own training the way I want to be, these comments don't affect me. Like, especially I've noticed if I'm losing weight, it's comments like this is water off a duck's back. But if I'm in maintenance and I take structured, as you know, we take structured maintenance breaks to get away from dieting, to build up calories and all that stuff. But when I'm in those phases and I get a comment on my weight, that's when I take it the hardest because I'm not intentionally seeing weight loss. Does that make
Actively,
sense?
even though you're not trying,
And I don't need to
not,
be,
no, 100% not. It's like
but
I had a
that's where my
comment the
head
other
goes.
week. Like, I think you replied to the comment actually, and she was like, You haven't lost weight in 2 months. And I'm like, Bitch, that's not the goal right now. Actually, I'm happy I haven't lost weight in 2 months because I haven't gained any.
Bitch, fucking Mandy. And I saw that she commented again on one of your I'm keeping up to date with Mandy and I'm just like, Mel, do not get involved. You do not, you need to protect your peace. But she, oh my God, she drives me crazy. I don't know why
Oh,
she's constantly at you in your video. Like, Mandy, what
she's
are you
my
doing to work,
biggest
babe?
fan right now. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have
She's
a
solely driving
screenshot.
your in.
100%. And one of my clients actually, so I posted a TikTok the other day, last week, about like returning to running, managing my ankle injury and stuff.
Mm.
And my
Oh, I
client,
think I saw
one of my
this.
clients who's super interested in like biomechanics and she wants to know why she's doing things. And I freaking love people like
Love
that.
that.
Like, tell me why. She commented and she was like, get into the science and biomechanics of it. I want to know. Mandy, she's biggest fan, MVP Mandy. She goes, she's too heavy to be slamming her joints with the above weight. Obvious, really. And I replied to my client and I was like, absolutely, I'll message you about it on Monday. I'm happy to teach you. And then I replied to Mandy, I was like, Mandy, you'll never guess. Louise is actually a client. She pays me money to coach her. Isn't that shocking? No reply.
I saw that thread. I saw her comment and I was fuming. And then I saw your reply and I was like, Bex is all over it.
Yeah,
Bex
she's
is
got
all
it.
over it. She's got
But yeah,
that.
I saw her comment pop up and I was like, man, and I think I replied to her original comment. I was like, Mandy, welcome back, babe. Thanks so much for the support. In this particular case, you are incorrect, but better luck next time.
Yeah, because there will be a next time
It
because she's
will be a next time. You
literally
will be back.
obsessed with me. That's what killed me. Yeah, when she when she commented, you haven't lost weight in the last 2 months, so you look exactly the same. I was like, I'm like, I coach Bex, right? She's in a maintenance phase, bitch. She's not meant to be losing weight right now. She's not meant like
Complimented
did
me a
you did
backhand
you
kind of way.
exactly, but I'm like, did you get the scale? Like, did you get the measuring tape? And did you measure all of Beck's like fucking perimeters? And then now you know that her process isn't working. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like, not only are you running now, you also have a powerlifting background. You are one of the, if not the most strongest client that I have on my books. Like, it's not like your joints are weak and frail, babe. You've been training for years. So,
Girl,
Mandy.
I'd like to see you throw around a barbell like I can, bitch.
Mandy, let us train you. Let us actually coach you into being a nice human. And then you won't feel the need to spread hate, babe.
Oh my,
But I think the biggest reason why we wanted to record this for your client base, my client base, anyone else who listens, is because we put ourselves out there every single day online, knowing that there's going to be some sort of troll comment. And it's not exclusive to us or to plus size women, it's
absolutely not.
everywhere. It's for everyone who does anything online. I even saw this incredible transformation for this girl who was quite lean and muscular, and then she bulked up. And the transformation was like a 10-kilo transformation. She looked incredible. And their comments were like, I see no difference. I like, there's nothing here. So everyone gets it. But we kind of want to talk about the reason why we're in this space, right? Like for you, getting into the online coaching space, working with plus size women, what's the purpose? Why are you doing that? What drives you?
What honestly, what drives me every single day is just being someone that I needed.
Mm,
I like even my first PT who, got me into PT, she was incredible, beautiful person, but
hmm.
always been skinny or lean or, whatever. Always
Yeah.
been fit, always been into fitness, never like, you know, if someone said to her, get down and do a burpee, she could,
Mm,
you know?
mm,
Unlike myself, who would look like a flailing little baby hippo, trying to trying to get herself down and then trying to get back up. Like, there's no way I can do 10 of those, and not be gassed at the end of it. So I think it's just like it's the lived experience. There are so many fitness coaches these days. There are so many PTs. There are so many people. I mean, there are online coaches that are unqualified running around. Don't get me started on that. That's been a big
hmm.
peeve of mine. Um, there are so many fitness coaches, but what I don't see is coaches like us who have lost weight, regained it, lost it, regained it, been through that cycle, and in
Hmm.
the process, really found themselves and found the parts of themselves that need some work and are happy to look and do that work. And I think it's just about providing hope for other women
Hmm.
who, unfortunately, or potentially, not all women, but, I've coached and currently coach clients who are 45, 50, 55 years old. They've hated their body for 35 years.
Yeah.
They've put themselves through the cycle for 35 years.
Yeah.
And like, it breaks my heart. It breaks
Mm,
my heart to hear these women say, like, I've beat myself up because I had five salted almonds instead of two the other day. Like,
mm,
it's stuff like that. And it's, I think what drives me to continue to show up regardless of the hate comments and the trolls and the judgment is like, for every one troll comment, there's 10 women. I may or may not know, but there's 10
mm,
women who are like, fuck, if she can do that,
mm,
I can. Or like, if her client has achieved that, like maybe she could help me with something
mm.
like that.
You said that to me the other day because I actually messaged you when I was struggling with some online stuff. And that's exactly what you said. And honestly, that like I knew that, but hearing you reflect that back to me, I was like, that's what I'm missing right now is the bigger purpose as to why I'm actually showing up every single day. Because the people who are liking and viewing and following, sometimes they never interact. They're like the last ones to leave a comment. So they're also the first ones to clap back when you get a hate comment, which is very interesting, right? So you're like, oh, these women are actually like I am inspiring them, even if I don't know it.
100%. Like I've had clients sign up or just a message come into my inbox like, "Hey, how do I work with you?" I'm like, "Who are you? Where did you
Yeah,
come from? How long have you been around? Like how much have you?" And like sometimes I would get on calls with them. It's not often I would do a call now, but if I'm voice noting someone or I was getting on a consult call with someone, they'd be like, "Oh, so how was your pastor last week?" I'm like, "This is fucking weird. I know nothing about you. You know everything about me."
yeah, totally. And you just don't know who's watching. Like I had a client directly, like which doesn't happen often, like directly subscribe to one of my offers. And I was like, who are you? Like I've never even seen your name before, but she was obviously like watching. And leads can take like what, 2, 3 months for them to actually convert, sometimes a year, right? Like,
Sometimes longer for people in our niche because I know we're going to talk
they've
about this.
been burned so many times.
100%. Like I've had conversations with women, one recently, like she did end up signing up last week, but she was like, I really like you and you're really nice and what you're saying sounds really good. However, I signed up with my previous coach under the same sort of circumstances and I didn't get what was
Mm,
promised. I was forgotten about. I have an ankle injury and that was never taken into consideration when programming.
mm,
I am a rugby player. Like she lives in the UK and she's like, I'm a rugby player and I need power and I need strength, but also I'm binging at night. But we never talk about nutrition, even though that was what was promised. And so
mm,
I think for us as well, like we're putting ourselves out there in the hopes that people will be brave enough to have a conversation with us
mm.
about them. And I know being vulnerable is terrifying. Um,
You get used to it though.
you do, you 100% do. But I think
Mm,
also for like client or, potential clients coming to us as well, like we're not all the same. If you've
mm.
been burnt by the fitness industry, like please don't like they just weren't the coach for you.
Totally.
There are plenty of us out here. There's two of us sitting right here who just genuinely want to see you win. We want to see you feel good. We want to see you be confident. We want to see you be strong. We want to see you feel good in your clothes. Like I couldn't give a fuck whether or not you were 100% compliant to your spinach this week.
Yeah.
Like tell me how you feel.
Totally. 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 And like fuck off this perfect all or nothing mindset that has been instilled in you because of the feedback and the bullshit you've seen online, and start listening to people who have gone through the process. And that's the biggest thing. That's why I got so mad at Mandy, your mate, and everyone. And I made a video of ranting basically after this on my TikTok where I was like,
After you sent me 6 voice notes, also
yeah, ranting. I was clearly dysregulated. I was
joking.
not on my meditation bullshit that day.
That was brilliant listening material, by the way.
I'm glad. Yes, something that I should keep off social media, I'm sure. But
Passion.
what was my what was I getting at? What I was getting at is plus size people exist in the industry for a very specific reason. And it's because plus size people don't relate to the size 6 shredded PT who has never lost weight before. And when that PT tells you you just don't want it hard enough, you just don't want it enough, you're just not disciplined enough, like you just like stop making excuses. You're like, okay, this just makes me feel more alienated. Like I will never be a health and fitness queen or girly, whatever, because it's too fucking hard and it's too much. And I also am not safe enough to tell you that I'm binge eating every single night. I
Oh
don't
my
feel
gosh.
safe enough to tell you that I have trauma that fucks with me and that I run away from it, and I run away by smoking weed and binge eat and drinking. Like your clients have to have safety with you for them to be open with you. And if your feedback to them is you just don't want it hard enough, it's laughable because you and me have wanted to be in healthy, amazing bodies our entire lives. And we've had stages of being there and stages of coming back. But we're both like nearly in our 30s and we're still trying. And it's like we have just gotten it right, but no one helped us get here. Like we are getting it right now at 30 or late 20s because we have done all the mistakes in the world. We have seen what doesn't work, and then we learned to take a different approach. And that is why our clients are shocked when they work with us because we're so not what you're used to seeing online.
100% not. And like, I used to feel quite ashamed about the fact that I'd lost and regained weight as a
Oh,
qualified
yeah.
fitness professional because we should know what we're
Yeah.
doing. And like, it's the same, which is why we'll always normalize coaches need coaches. Like,
Mm,
Mel is my coach. I pay Mel every week to coach me, even though I should know what I'm doing. And I do know what I'm doing, but actually going through this transformation this time,
mm.
it's like there's so many layers that I actually just can't deal with myself, nor should I have to.
Totally. But like also on that, you and me don't talk about macros training that much.
Literally, hardly ever.
That's like 5% of the stuff that we do. You and me are voice noting, we're deep. Sometimes we cry, sometimes we're laughing. Like we go through so much stuff that comes up in the phase, in the moment, and we dig deep into that. And that's what people aren't taught to do is like, okay, if you're doing something, there's a reason why. There's either a payoff that's benefiting you by not doing this thing, even though you want to, or or you're sabotaging the shit out of yourself and you don't know why, let's actually look there and see what's going on. Or like, working with female clients and discovering they have endometriosis or PCOS, and we are helping them get diagnosed, or mental health conditions because they've never had anyone say to them, hey, this isn't normal,
Absolutely.
you
And
know?
like the same with like what I've gone through over the last year. Like I remember coming to you last year and being like, I'm so incredibly depressed before my cycle and I actually can't function as a
Mm,
human. And you're like, babe, that's not normal. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, probably should look into it. Boom, she's got PMDD.
mm,
Same with you. Like that amount of pain before your period, not normal. Boom, she's got endo. Like
yeah.
it's not, and also I think having that slightly different perspective and approach with our clients, like we're both very mindset first. I guess that would be like if you were to
100.
label it, like
Mm,
holistic mindset first, however
yeah.
you want to word
Wellness,
wellness.
whatever the buzzword is, will
Yeah,
fit it.
whatever SEO keywords is going to get our podcast like boosted. Um,
Wellness, nutrition, mindset,
wellness,
high
fitness,
rocks, high
hot
rocks.
girly. Oh yeah, high rocks, yeah. Um, and it's like during those times of the month, you can't get out of bed and do your steps or train because you're crippled in pain. I'm depressed as fuck and can't stop crying, or I'm numb and actually can't make decisions. And
Mm,
it's not just like we're not disciplined enough. Like I've got clients currently. I actually asked one of them to go and start the process of it's not easy, but I was like, I think you might have ADHD. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not diagnosing you, but I've coached you for 18 months now. I'm watching you. I understand you. I've been taking mental notes of these patterns and I see what happens and I hear how you feel. And actually, this is not just you can't do it or you're not capable of sticking to something. There's actually something else at play here, and I think we need to investigate it. And she was like,
mm,
I remember her response. She was like, that is so incredibly validating because I know you would never lie to me. I know you would never blow smoke up my ass. And I was like, absolutely not. Nor am I giving you an excuse or a cop out. I'm just
yeah.
saying, like, I see that you're struggling and I've watched the patterns and I think there's something else at play here. And she was like, yeah, actually, I've thought about this a long time, but I just thought it was me.
Mm. And imagine her having a coach that was like, you clearly don't want these results because you're not putting in the work. I've been coaching you for 18 months now. You have not been doing it consistently. Like, shape up or ship out. And it's like, that is very rarely the reason. Like, sure, some people aren't disciplined and some people actually don't even try. You get people who sign up for the
Oh,
12 weeks,
absolutely.
they ghost you after 2 weeks, whatever. That
100%.
person isn't ready. That person is actually not ready to look at their own shit and to start facing their like inner world for them to actually make progress, right? Because the way that we coach women, we do force our clients to look at their stuff. And we know it's important because looking at our stuff has gotten us 10, 20, 30 kilograms down. We can actually maintain that because we're not self-sabotaging anymore, XYZ, blah, 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 right? But that person, for you to pick up on that, imagine if she gets that diagnosis and she actually has it, how thankful she'll be for your care.
100%. And it's not as though she hasn't achieved anything over the 18 months either, but it's
Mm,
felt like pushing shit uphill for her. And I was like, it actually shouldn't be this hard.
yeah,
Like you've got the foundation, you've actually done the work. This is not a fundamental flaw of you as a human being. There
yeah,
is something else happening. And it's the same for like, there's so many conversations I have with clients, with people in my DMs, and they're like, motivation is my problem. I'm like, okay. I don't actually think that's the issue. I think there's like, and you start to dig a bit deeper and you find they've done Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and they've eaten 800 calories a day and then they've eaten 3,000 calories a day and then they've done E45 and then they've done Fit Stop and then they've hired a IFBB athlete coach who got them to do a bodybuilding diet and then you wonder why they're actually just so burnt out.
yeah. When they see really good results, because like a bodybuilder will get you insane results, right? A bodybuilder will get you insane results, but on low calories, on high cardio, high steps, lots of training, it's extremely regimented. It's not holistic. It's for a specific reason. You will get the result, but can you maintain that?
Or
And
exactly. And how, like, do you want to enjoy your life?
yeah, like absolutely. But also like I find clients who have done like keto in the past, right? Or something that's a quick fix, something that's a fad. And they go, but Mel, I lost 20 kilos in 10 weeks. And I go, yeah, well, how long do you maintain that fat loss for? And they're like, I didn't. I put on 22 straight after. And I'm like, stop holding yourself to this insane standard of weight loss that you achieved through cutting out food groups or starving yourself or not eating, skipping meals, fasting, whatever because you couldn't maintain it. So it's not worth it. But I think clients see like, and I did it too when I gained like 50 kilos over 5 years. I was like, oh well, when I was skinny, I wouldn't eat breakfast and I would eat green smoothies and rice cakes and chicken breast, and that was about it. So when I kept trying to do that and I kept failing, I thought it was me,
You do.
not me. It's the process. That's where everyone, I feel, gets lost.
It definitely does. And it's hard. Well, what I'm finding difficult, probably more so in the last like 6 to 12 months, is people having an open enough mind to trust a new process.
Yeah.
Because diets and low calories and over exercising and all of that, that's been around for decades.
Yeah.
And it's trusted, wrongly trusted in my opinion, but trusted. People
Hmm.
know about it. People know, eat less, move more, whatever fucking thing is going on at the moment. And so when I tell them, I'm like, cool, so we're intentionally not going to lose weight for at least the first 3 to 4 weeks that we work together.
Hmm.
And they're like, oh no, but I'm coming to you for weight loss. I'm like, no, I understand that. I know. I know. I said we're not intentionally losing weight here. Um, and I think I just wish people had more of an open mind to seeing like if you've tried something and you got results, but you weren't able to maintain those results, it actually didn't work.
Yeah.
Like if you lost 10 kilos doing whatever fucking diet you want to think of, like insert diet here, and you gained, like you said, like 15 kilos back afterwards, it actually didn't work because you gained the weight back. And that's exactly what those things are designed to do. And what I will die on the hill screaming like those diets are designed for you to fail at because they want you to keep going back. Weight Watchers, they want you to keep going to the meetings. They want you to keep buying their food. They want you to keep subscribing to their purple plan or whatever, whatever it is these days, because
Yeah.
they get your money that way.
Yeah.
So if
And you
you
invest
can't
in it
live
because
without
it's
it,
cheap. Exactly. You invest with it because it's cheap and affordable. So you go like, oh, this will work for me. Our services are not cheap. Our services are not cheap, right? But what you get with our service is so much more knowledge, education, support, accountability, everything. Weight Watchers is like what, a multi-million dollar business who's like it makes you rely on their service. They don't teach you how to make a meal yourself
you
without
don't
any of their
learn
stuff.
anything outside of
Don't
what the
learn anything.
purple plan is. And when you eventually give up or like step away from Weight Watchers, what are you left with? You have no skills, you have no
Yeah.
tools, you have no knowledge, you have no support, you have no education, and you're just going to go back to what you were doing before because you don't know any different. You haven't learned
Yeah.
any different. And like investing in a coach is not, well, if you're investing in a good coach, it shouldn't be cheap.
Mm,
But also, if you
exactly.
think about like, if you just locked in for 6 to 12 months with a good coach, you had a good relationship, you actually like fucking showed up, like you you opened up to this person, you let them in, you worked on your shit, you understood and learnt the tools and knowledge and education that I know we both provide to our clients. Sure, you might pay $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 over that 12-month period,
Mm,
but you pay that once. You leave with the knowledge, the tools, the education. Like if you hire a good coach, like we are, obviously, if you hire a good coach, I want to do myself out of a job, and I will actively tell my clients in any like any conversations I have is like, I love you, but I don't want to be your coach in 5 years.
Mm,
I don't want you to be relying on me in 5 years' time because that means I haven't done my job well enough. I
yeah.
want you to feel like you can do it on your own. And when I have clients come to me and we're like wrapping up the end of our container and they're like, I've had clients be with me like 2, 3 years because their goals have changed and evolved and whatnot. There is nothing that makes my soul happier to hear, I feel ready to do this on my own.
Yeah.
Like nothing makes me more, like I've even got goosebumps. Like nothing makes me more proud as a coach to hear, like, I feel ready. I've gotten everything I needed from you. I understand. I have the tools. I know what I'm doing.
Hmm.
I'm ready to progress on my own. Like that's what I want.
Yeah. 100%. It's setting up your clients with tools that are lifelong. And no
Yeah.
matter if that client stays with you for 5 years or if they stay with you for 1 year, they're getting something out of it at every stage of their journey, right?
100%.
And like, I think that's where people get a bit tripped up. My thought process with people is like, what I see a lot of is, okay, Mel's minimum term is 12 weeks. So I'm going to give this 12 weeks a shot. And if I don't see 10 kilos of fat loss in 12 weeks, then I'm like, I'm done. And that happens, right? And I'm always like, you spent 6 weeks being so flaky and inconsistent. How are you actually going to achieve consistent, sustainable fat loss if that's your approach, right? In those 12 weeks, you could see an insane fat loss result, but insane fat loss in 12 weeks might look like 6 kilos, babe. It might look like four. But what they're missing is creating the foundation, creating the consistency, eating the food. Like reverse dieting is massive, especially for binge eaters. Eating enough food consistently, building muscle for the first time. So you're not getting skinny fat and then having to build up at the end of it. It's like I reckon a healthy cycle length for a client with me is about 12 months because they have the period of time to make changes, to get consistent, to get the results. And then normally it's that second, third year we're working together where results are like, phew. But if they don't spend that first bit of time, like we were talking about before, leaning in, building trust, and being willing to see themselves as the issue. Because the thing about me with my coach and you, because obviously I know you very, very, very well because I coach you. We are both women who go, this is the mirror. It's my problem. I'm in control. At the end of the day, I'm the one who's making these decisions. I can see my self-sabotage behaviors, or I can see the trauma I'm processing in therapy is massively impacting with how I'm showing up this week, PMDD, whatever. That we don't go like, weight loss just doesn't work for me. Like I've tried everything, it just doesn't work for me. We go, what do I need to work through next?
Yeah. And I like, for context, for anyone who's listening or watching, this is like I'm 10 days into my first deficit of 2025 and going great, guys. Nearly 4 kilos down, just by the way.
Four.
Oh, yeah, I
Fuck.
hadn't told you that. Yeah, nearly 4 kilos down.
I know it was three, but I didn't know it was four.
Nearly four. And I said to Mel going into this deficit, I was like, I am ready. One, I'm ready for the deficit in terms of consistency and time and intentionality.
Yeah.
But I know that there's some shit that's happening for me right now. And I'm fully prepared for it to come up in this process. And 10 days in, for the last 7 days, Mel and I have been voice noting back and forth multiple times a day because I'm like, this happened, and then this, and then this. And she's like, babe, I sound like I'm holding space for you. I'm like, oh my God, it's only 10 days in. But like when you start working on yourself and when you are open to having things reflected back to you and you're open, I think the biggest thing is not jumping into victim mentality because it's so easy to be like, woe is me. I have childhood trauma. I have a mental health diagnosis list the fucking length of my forearm, right? And if I know that you're the same, so I'm happy to make the joke.
Don't give it away.
I think the best people are the most unhinged, so that's
Most
fine.
fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trauma really makes or breaks a person. Um,
Yeah.
But I think like I could quite easily let all of that define me and be like, actually, I get incredibly depressed for 10 days a month. During that 10 days, I'm not going to try. And so I'm not going to see any progress because 10 days a month to like do nothing and binge eat for 10 days is not going to get me anywhere, is it? But I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, no, actually, like, yes, I feel like shit and I know that it's coming, but what can I learn from this?
Mm,
How can I get to know myself better? How can I support myself more? What work do I need to do?
mm,
What support do I need to ask Mel for in advance to be like, hey, look, I know this is coming up for me. Um, these are my non-negotiables. This is what I want to get done. Like, do you think that's realistic? Or am I being too hard on myself? Am I being too soft on myself? But I
mm,
think falling into the victim mentality is way too easy for people. And
mhm.
it's oh, I've done my time. Don't get me wrong. Like I've played
Same.
victim for a lot of years of my life.
Yes. Hmm.
Um, but it doesn't get you anywhere. And you've got to have an
No.
open mind to the process because if you don't, you'll constantly sit in there like, I'm broken, I can't do this. Weight loss isn't for me. I just need to accept that I'm always going to feel this way. I need to accept that I never feel attractive. I need to accept that I'm always going to be fat.
Yeah.
Well, fuck that. Like you don't have to. But
No.
only you can make that decision.
I think you just get to a point though where you are in that victim mentality, blaming everyone else. Like, and rightly so, like in both of our situations,
Same.
rightly so. There are people who should be blamed, and there's people who have been like, my father was in jail. Like, there's people who should be held to account. But at the end of the day, this is kind of what got to me. I was like, all right, I'm getting into my late 20s. If I don't change now, I'm going to be that 50-year-old who's bitter at her dad for what he did. And I'm going to have a shit fucking life because I'm outsourcing my power and I'm acting as if he took my power away from me or at any of the other things that happened. They took my power away instead of accepting there are people to blame. Absolutely. But you're also to blame for how you respond to certain things, right? Because for me, getting abused as a child from my dad, like had a massive impact on me. But who's the person smoking weed every day? Who's
Hmm.
the person binge eating? Who's the person writing herself off drunk and like causing havoc in her personal life because of that? Who's that person? Oh, that's me.
Hmm.
So I can keep blaming him. All right, well, I'm this way because of him. Or I can go, I'm hurting. I'm so sad. And I'm not doing anything to take care of that part of myself. So that's my work now. And when you start doing that, it's not easy to turn that mirror on yourself, but it's equally the most empowering thing you can do because you take your power back from those people and you look at, okay, I don't want to smoke weed anymore. How am I going to get there? That was me in COVID. How am I going to get out of this daily smoking? Okay, I'm going to do these things. And none of it's easy. Like choosing to not be the victim of your own life is the hardest thing you will do. It's hard, but that's your life forever if you don't choose to change it.
You are the only person that lives in your brain.
Mm,
Like you, yes, there are unfair circumstances that have impacted that were not your fault. And
mm,
yes, it is so fucking frustrating to be the one to have to pick up other people's messes. Like, you fucked me up. You did this, you did that. I shouldn't have been in that position, blah, blah, blah. No one is discounting or invalidating that experience,
yeah.
but you can choose to live in that environment for the rest of your life in your brain,
Mm,
or you can, like you said, accept, okay, yep, these things were done to me. Is it fair that I'm now the one spending 10 years of my life in therapy
no.
trying to deal with it? No, that's not fair. No one said life was fair though.
Yeah.
And the
These are
only
the cards
person,
I have.
yeah, the only person that actually benefits or what's the opposite of benefit? Suffers
Mm,
is you. If you
yeah.
don't deal with it, you suffer. If you do
Yep.
deal with it, you benefit. So it's like your own, sometimes when I'm feeling sorry for myself, and everyone's allowed a pity party. What I tell my clients is you're allowed a pity party, just don't pack up and live there.
Yeah.
Have a have a pity party. I almost imagine the inside of my brain. I don't know why the Simpsons wall comes into mind, but like, the couch with the picture in the background of like the Simpsons. I imagine that is my like the internal wall of my brain. And I'm like, okay, I have an environment in here. I am the only one that lives in here. And
Mm,
actually, right now, there's pictures hung up that are sad, that are mopey, that are like, you know, the memories that replay of childhood issues and bullying and all kind of thing. You actually have a choice to like strip that wallpaper back and put something else up.
mm,
You have free will. You can choose, and your mind is the most powerful thing that you have if you choose to see it that way.
mm.
It's all about perspective.
100%. I think in that process, and I think that's something that we've been working through a lot, and I've been working through a lot, is like, yes, it's in our control and we need to change it, and blah, blah, blah. Also, like, can you actually go and give that version of you so much love and so much compassion for what she went through? Because there is a reason those pictures are still up on the wall. That version of you is still hurting. And I firmly believe moving out of victim mentality is really just taking the blame out of it. Stop blaming people. Look at yourself and have self-compassion. And I feel like that is so hard. And self-compassion is a piece I'm working through a lot at the moment
Same.
because what was that?
Same.
Yeah, right. We're like kind of going through it together, but it's like, there's all these things that have happened. And all I need to do is actually go and sit with that version of me, hold her hand, and ask her what she needs, whether that was 2 years ago or 20 years ago. What do you need? You're hurting. What can I help you with? Like, what do you need from me? So, something I do a lot is that self-connection piece. And that's when I meet myself at those deeper levels. That's when I get to feel the shit properly as well. Because oftentimes we're stuck because we don't feel it the way we need to in order to process. So I'm intentionally like shaking my body for 15 minutes in this room and dancing in this room and crying in this room and doing all these things to bring these emotions up so that they can be processed and
Well,
so that
emotion is
we move
energy in
forward.
motion. I remember, like, I tell
Exactly.
myself that all the time. Emotion is energy in motion. And it's like, no wonder, and the self-connection piece is huge. And I mean, I know that we could talk for hours and hours on so many different topics, but
Mm,
self-connection is one of the things that females especially lack because, and it shows even in like physical symptoms. You don't know when you're hungry, you don't know when you're full because you stop listening.
yeah.
You've been on a diet for so long, you started to ignore what being hungry feels like because it was painful. You don't,
Mm,
you binge, so you don't know what fullness feels like. But even
mm.
down to like, you don't know who you are because you don't,
Jesus, Beck.
I know, but you don't feel. You actually can't. You can't feel because it's too painful to feel. And you have
Yeah.
this like experience or this perception of the world
Mm,
around, like, you have this perception of the world where you either view yourself ostracized from it or included in it.
mm,
Most of the women I coach are ostracized because of various different reasons. And so they feel like they're the only person in the world who feels this way about themselves.
mm,
And they held so much shame and guilt and embarrassment, and they are constantly consumed by the burden of being on or off a weight loss journey, but their weight is always on their mind, always.
yeah. Yeah.
And they pull back and they isolate themselves, and then they just dig themselves a deeper hole. They numb out, they smoke weed, they drink alcohol, they binge, they sleep, they don't see their friends, they don't do activities, they don't do experiences because deep down they don't feel like they deserve to
Mm,
because of XYZ reason. And like
yeah.
this whole, like, if this conversation, if anyone listening learns anything from this conversation, please let it be. Weight loss is like the very tip of the iceberg. Like,
Hmm.
it is literally the tiniest bit.
Yeah.
And when a coach is giving you macros and training programs, amazing, great strategy. But like, what happens or who can you turn to on the days where you want to completely crash out and
Burn
just
your life to the ground.
burn your life to the ground, but you
Mm.
want to pick it up again the next day? Like,
Mm.
on those days where you want to burn it to the ground, like, who are you turning to help you work through and to figure out why?
Yeah.
Fuck
Yeah.
the training off. Fuck the macro planning. Fuck your carbohydrate target. Fuck your step goal, whatever it is. Like, there is actually bigger things going on for you on that day in that moment.
Yeah.
And you have to find somebody who can guide you through that.
And half of that work just starts with connecting to your body. Like I picked up on that when you were talking about it. Like we spend so much time in our head trying to create all these stories and storylines and dealing with stress and anxiety. We're not connected to our bodies at all. Women aren't connected to their womb, their pelvis, their stomach, their intuition, their chest, anything. So like in those moments, for you girls listening, when it feels overwhelming and it feels like you are gonna die until you get away from this feeling, it's just asking yourself, like, what am I feeling in my body right now? Or I feel so much rage and I don't know what to do with it. Cool, go for a run, hit your pillow, tear up a sheet, like do something energetic wise to move that through your body. But I think for context on my story, I lost 30 kilograms and like I was working with a coach who had me on very low calories, let's just say it like that. So the weight loss was never going to be maintained anyway because it was low to get there. But because I come from sexual trauma and because gaining weight was a way for me to feel safety in my body, it was I couldn't hold 30 kilograms of weight loss. I very quickly gained back about 10 of those kilos because I could not be in a smaller body. And I remember what triggered that was getting more male attention online. And because I wasn't safe in my body or safe in my central nervous system, the reaction was just to, all right, I need to put weight back on till I'm back to triple digits because that's actually where I feel the most comfortable. And it wasn't until I experienced that, because I had all the knowledge and all the know-how, it wasn't until I experienced it that I went, there's a deeper issue at play here. And I need to work on safety in sex, safety in my sex life, my sensuality, everything, but also safety in my own body. So, like a coach who just teaches you macros can't help you through that deeper level of self-sabotage, but also no one can until you're ready to look at that work.
100%. And like the self-sabotage thing, it is a whole, like, there are so many layers to that and what contributes to that and what triggers that and how to come back from that. And like
Mm,
that's a conversation that you and I are having at the moment. Like, weight. And also, as a like sidebar but kind of related, I played into the plus size coach identity for so long because I
oh
was
yeah.
strong. Like, I'm a
Mm,
powerlifter, like I can fucking squat 150 kilos, I can deadlift 160, like I am strong. So
mm,
if I identify as plus size and I identify as strong, that means that my struggles with weight loss become null and void. They're not my problem. I don't identify as someone who's overweight. I identify as someone who's strong. And
mm,
so having the strong identity and the plus size identity, if I say it, no one can say it back to me that in a way that will hurt me because I've already said it. And
mm,
so being in a place now where, like I lost 18 kilos last year, I regained about 8, 10, 8 to 10 of that because we're just figuring out now in the first 10 days of my calorie deficit that actually my weight and my size is a
mm,
protection mechanism. Because if
mm,
I'm not a plus size PT and I'm not a strong PT, what place in this industry do I have
mm,
if I'm just floating in the middle? Like
mm,
I'm trying not to be a plus size PT, but I am, and someone says that I am when I'm actively trying not to be.
mm.
Ouch, that hurts.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it can exist as well, though, that it's like it's not so black and white because I mean, I would still be considered, fuck, I don't know if I'm plus size, mid size. I try not to label,
Who
right?
knows? Who
I
knows?
like, I don't fucking care. I'm not labeling myself. You can label me and you will never work with me, and that's sweet. But it's like, it brings me back to the troll conversation where people are like, how can you be a health and fitness coach with that body? You're like, well, actually, if anyone has experience with weight loss, it's me. If anyone has experience with self-sabotage and rebounding in weight and doing everything fucking wrong, it's me. So that is why people benefit from working with us because we know all of the traps. But also, we are still working through our own stuff in therapy, coaching space, whatever, to get where we want to be. So the people are seeing the journey online, which I think is fantastic because it gives people a realistic expectation of how long it can take to change your body, right? Because we've been trying, like I've been on social media for like 2 years, not in the same way as the last 6 months, but I have been. So I think like even just us posting shows people that it's a long time for certain individuals to change their body because body transformation, as we know, is mind, soul, body. It's not just your fucking body,
100%.
right? But I think it's also like when you like when we started working together, you were in that power lifter, strong girl, plus size coach, and you branded that and you backed that. And when I started like digging a little bit, and then you started digging a little bit, it was like, but I don't know where I fit in. And that's why we wanted to record this podcast because we don't fit into the industry. We created a space for ourselves,
We
and
like,
we're here,
like,
bitches.
hi, we're
Yeah,
coming.
we're here. Let me get my fat ass in your way. Because we relate to the